Guys, the closer we get to training camp, the more this news cycle is heating up. And I got two updates that are going to have us feeling two completely different ways. First one, a new ranking just came out for the NFL's best interior offensive linemen, guards, and centers, and our guy topped the list, even ahead of Quenton Nelson and Humphrey, which most people weren't expecting. But at the same time, we got some bad news. One of our new edge rushers got hit with a suspension that's going to cost him 3 games to start the season. Now here's the thing, if the front office handles this the right way, this whole situation could actually work out in our favor, and I'm about to explain exactly how. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's start with the good stuff because honestly, I've been waiting to talk about this one. Everybody always wants to talk about Dak Prescott, and look, he's a top 10 quarterback. We already knew that. In fact, ESPN ranked him 6th best quarterback going into 2026 season, so that's not new information to anybody watching this channel. But what actually caught my attention this week is this list ranking the best interior offensive linemen in the league. And I mean, guards and centers just don't get the love they deserve. Nobody's out here making highlight reels of a guard sealing off a 3 technique, right? Everybody wants to talk about the flashy left tackle matchups and the pass rushers chasing quarterbacks. But when you really sit down and study this roster, the interior of this offensive line might honestly be the strongest part of this entire team. So, here's what happened. ESPN released a list, ranking the top 10 guards in football, and sitting right at number 1 is our very own Tyler Smith. Not Quenton Nelson, not Humphrey, not Trey Smith, not Joe Thuney, not any of these established, respected names around the league. And when I saw that, I'm not even gonna lie, I felt a little bit of pride, because this dude was a first-round tackle prospect who got moved inside to guard and just completely took over that position. The numbers back it up, too. He's grading out with a 72% win rate in the run game and a 95% win rate in pass protection. Those numbers are strong. They're not even considered elite by some grading standards. But here's the thing. Watching him play tells you more than the numbers ever could. This man plays with a rare combination of size and athleticism and finishing ability. I saw one executive compare him to a prime version of a dominant veteran tackle, just playing guard instead, and honestly, that comparison makes total sense once you actually watch the tape. Now, if I'm being real with y'all, the one critique on Tyler Smith is that he can play a little out of control at times, a little too aggressive, not always the most technically sound. But listen, that's coachable, that's not a talent issue, that's a discipline issue, and at 25 years old with 3 straight Pro Bowl selections already under his belt, I'm not worried about that at all. This organization already locked him up long-term too, so this isn't a guy we gotta stress about losing in free agency. He's here, he's ours, and right now, he's the best at his position in the entire league, period. But here's what really gets me fired up, and I mean genuinely excited. Tyler Smith isn't the only piece of this puzzle. You look at Tyler Booker as a rookie last year. Strong, athletic, physical presence, still figuring some things out against guys with elite lateral quickness, but that's expected for a first-year player still adjusting to this league. Give him time, give him reps, and I truly believe he's going to be right there with Tyler Smith on lists like this before too long. And then you got Cooper Beebe at center, and I swear, this man is one of the most overlooked players on this entire roster. Nobody talks about him. Nobody brings his name up in conversations about the best centers in football, and that's honestly a crime. Because the way he anchors that middle of the line, the way he processes protections play after play, that's a big reason why this whole unit functions as well as it does. I genuinely believe we're going to look back in a couple of years and realize just how good of a value pick that guy was. So when you put it all together, Tyler Smith at guard, Tyler Booker developing right next to him, Cooper Beebe anchoring the center spot, and then you add in Dak Prescott standing behind them pulling the trigger. That's what I like to think of as the core of this entire offense. And if we can just get our tackles, Terrence Steele and Tyler Quenton, playing to the level we all know they're capable of, I'm talking about a top 3 offensive line in this entire league. Not the top 10, not the top 5, the top 3. And once you have that kind of protection up front, that changes everything about what this offense can become. That's how you keep your quarterback upright all season. That's how you open up run lanes for whoever's in the backfield, and that's how you make a real push come January. Offensive line wins football games, guys. It's not the sexy stuff that gets talked about on Sunday morning shows, but it's the truth. And I think this front office understands that better than people give them credit for. Okay, now let's shift gears here for a second because I did say we had some bad news too, and it's coming from the other side of the ball. Charles Snowden, one of the newer edge rushers we brought in this offseason, just got hit with a 3-game suspension to start the season because of a DUI situation. Now, this actually goes back to 2024. It's just now getting resolved through the league office. But regardless of when it originally happened, the suspension is real. And it's landing right as we're about 2 weeks out from training camp. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is some devastating blow to the roster, because if I'm honest, Charles Snowden probably profiles as more of a depth piece, maybe your 4th guy at best in that rotation. But that doesn't mean we can just brush this off like it doesn't matter. Every single body matters when you're building depth at a position group, especially one as important as the edge in today's NFL. And here's what really made me sit up and pay attention. We got Donovan Ezeiruaku, who had his own reckless driving situation that still hasn't been fully resolved by the league office. So now you're looking at a scenario where 2 of our top edge rushers could potentially be dealing with suspensions at some point this season. That's not something you just ignore and hope it works itself out. That's a real problem if it actually plays out that way. Now, when I look at our current edge room, I actually feel pretty good about the talent we have sitting there. You got Rashawn Gary, you got Malachi Lawrence, who honestly doesn't get enough credit for what he brings. You got James Houston and Sam Williams competing for those depth spots behind them. And then, when you look at the interior of that defensive line too, I mean, Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark together is a scary combination that people just aren't talking about enough. Kenny Clark especially, I think he's due for one of his best seasons in a while, playing right alongside one of the most disruptive defensive tackles in the entire league. That's a lot of size, a lot of power, sitting right up front on that side of the ball, and I don't think opposing offensive coordinators are ready for it. But even with all that talent, I still think this suspension is a signal, and it's telling us something we shouldn't ignore. If we got 2 edge rushers who could both be dealing with league discipline around the same time, we need more proven depth at that position, plain and simple. And that's why my mind keeps going back to this idea of bringing in a veteran presence, somebody who's already done it at a high level. Somebody who can step in and produce immediately without needing an entire season to develop. A guy like Von Miller comes to mind, honestly. Somebody with real playoff experience who could give this room some insurance and some juice at the same time. I'm not saying we panic. I'm not saying we overreact to one suspension, but this is exactly the kind of situation where you want a safety net already in place before the season starts. Not scrambling for answers after you're already down bodies in October. So, when you put both of these stories together, that's really what this week has been about for this team. On one hand, you got this incredible recognition for our interior offensive line, real proof that what we're building up front on offense is legitimately one of the best units in football right now. And on the other hand, you got a reminder that depth matters, that off-field situations can hit you when you least expect it, and that good organizations have to be prepared to handle both good news and bad news at the exact same time. So, that's football though, right? It's never just one story. It's never just good news or just bad news. It's always both happening together. And how a franchise responds to that is honestly what separates the good organizations from the great ones. I trust this front office to make smart calls here, but I also want to see them actually act on it instead of just letting it slide, because the suspension technically doesn't kick in until the regular season starts. And before closing the video, I want to share a training camp update with you. Cowboys training camp dates just got released, and I know a lot of y'all been asking about this, so let's get right into it. Training camp is going to be open to the public starting Wednesday, July 29th, and it runs all the way through Tuesday, August 18th. And look, these open practices are completely free, so if you're anywhere near Oxnard, you need to be pulling up. This is actually a special one too, because it marks 20 years of Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, which honestly is kind of wild when you think about it. Now, the big kickoff event is called Cowboys Back Together Saturday, and that's happening on Saturday, August 1st. Doors basically open at 9:15 in the morning Pacific time, and they got live entertainment, they got Rowdy the mascot out there, exclusive merchandise, giveaways, the whole 9 yards. Then at 11:15, they're doing the official opening ceremony, and that includes a performance from the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders plus 90 kids from NFL Flag. Ventura County get to be part of it too, which I think is a really cool touch. You'll also get remarks from the Jones family and the mayor of Oxnard before practice actually kicks off at 11:45. And one more thing I want to mention because I think it's important. On Thursday, August 6th, they're hosting Heroes Appreciation Day presented by USAA. So if you're military or a first responder, wear your uniform or bring your ID, and you're getting free general admission parking plus 2 reserved sideline VIP spots to watch practice. Just know capacity is limited, so it's first come, first served. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. Offensive line is looking scary good. Defensive depth needs a little bit of attention, and training camp is right around the corner where we're finally going to start getting real answers instead of just headlines and speculation. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I always read every single one of them. Appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you in the next one.